presión no calienta, la tierra está helada, manchada de sangre por la orden firmada. Un yugo de hierro impuesto por tiranos que visten el mismo uniforme de hermano. Nos dieron medallas, nos llamaron valientes y hoy nos ordenan traicionar a nuestra gente. Vente, en celdas oscuras, lamigues de los leales, los que se negaron a cometer males. Soldados del pueblo con honor y con vida, por alzar la voz su libertad fue perdida. Pero le corre tumba en cada cuartel, un juramento grabado en la piel. Vamos a la batalla, con el alma y la mirada, por el camarada, cuya voz fue silenciada. En los muros de la opresión, somos el pueblo en armas, somos la legión. Por cada vida que vamos a proteger, con nuestra propia sangre, vamos a vencer. Las bayonetas con manos decididas, no contra un enemigo de lejanas tierras vencidas. La línea de fuego se traza en el corazón, entre la lealtad y la maldita traición. Miramos los rostros de la gente en las calles, su miedo es la mecha que enciende y no falles. El general corrupto en su trono de oro, escuche el rugido, el unísono coro. No luchamos por gloria ni por una bandera, sino por la madre, el hijo, la trinchera. Por liberar al soldado que se negó a disparar y por un futuro que podamos honrar. Con fuerza y determinación vamos a la batalla, con el alma y la mirada, por el camarada, cuya voz fue silenciada. En los muros de la opresión, somos el pueblo en armas, somos la legión. Por cada vida que vamos a proteger, con nuestra propia sangre, vamos a vencer. Vamos a la batalla, con el alma y la mirada, por el camarada, cuya voz fue silenciada. Que tiemblen los muros de la opresión, somos el pueblo en armas, somos la legión. Por cada vida que vamos a proteger, con nuestra propia sangre, vamos a vencer. Y si caemos en el campo de este deber, que nuestro sacrificio haga al pueblo renacer. Que las futuras tropas recuerden la razón. Proteger al pueblo fue nuestra única misión. Sonido final que una ráfaga de viento. Vamos a la batalla, por el alma y la mirada, por el camarada, cuya voz fue silenciada. Que tiemblen los muros de la opresión, somos el pueblo en armas, somos la legión. Por cada vida que vamos a proteger, con nuestra propia sangre, vamos a vencer.
Breathe for me. Well, it comes down to this. Season 4 finals very much on its way, and it's Animus taking on Exclusive as we expected. Brody, Proper, joining me alongside of my name is Sun, and we are nearly ready to get into the grand finals. Not just deciding who is the champion in Europe, but who we are sending to the World Championships in November in Katowice. It will mean a lot for one of these two teams to get there. But who is it going to be? We'll find out on the back end of this best of 7. It should be an absolute corker, but Brody, I mean, this is what we expected. This is what we expect every single season, to see these teams facing off against each other in the grand final. How it's going to go, though, I haven't actually got a clue.
Yeah, as long as we've got Exclusive and Animus in Call of Duty Mobile, they will be the teams headlining the grand final of every major European event. And once again, for the third season in a row, that is the case. It wouldn't be European Call of Duty Mobile without them. Oh, it should be said, though, that the situation is a little bit different this time around, because for the last 2 seasons, it has been Exclusive coming from the upper bracket. This time around, Animus are walking their way into this best of 7 finals with a 1-0 advantage. But of course, the last couple of times, Animus, they made it from the lower bracket and they made it to first place. So maybe Exclusive can do that this time.
I mean, look, it's the kind of conversation we can have Proper around, okay, well, the team who has come from that winner's bracket side has always wanted to lose that grand final, at least in the last 2, and will Exclusive finally win? That's a question we're going to have to ask as well. Another EU grand finalist coming up from them, but over the previous seasons, the results haven't necessarily looked too hot. But it's always been the case in Europe that the team who has come from the loser's bracket has went on to win it the last 2 times at least anyway. But that team has always been Animus. Animus now have that advantage, so which side of the fence do you sit on here? Is it going to be the team from the loser's bracket final again, or is it just a much easier position for Animus to get the job done again?
Exclusive doesn't lose a 5th grand final in a row. Surely it's going to be the 5th time is going to be the charm, right? I mean, you even heard it from Vera in our closing interview there from the lower finals. Like, their biggest difference after watching all the VOD from that loss yesterday was simply the gunny, at least in their opinion. I think that their teamwork positioning was no different, but they were losing a lot of those different gunfights. I think coming in from the lower finals this time around, to Brody's point, being the biggest difference in between last grand finals and now, they will have that hot hand. Again, Veer 1.68 KD in that lower finals. Yeah, it was a milli whopping, but still, we need him to have a hot hand going in towards this series to be humming along with the rest of all the other suspects that we have for that exclusive roster if they hope to hold a candlelight over to Animus' side, because Veer had those fighting words. He said that it cannot be Animus representing the European Call of Duty Mobile region on the international stage. He likes Exclusive chances better.
Well, I think we have to talk about yesterday's game then in the context of this one. We had our winners bracket final where it did come down to a final search and destroy. It went all the way to a map number 5, Brody. It was a close series yesterday, but one that Exclusive weren't happy with after what we just heard from Vier. What was the biggest issue for you in that series yesterday? We're seeing it go kind of back and forth. Exclusive maybe not seeming like themselves, or Animus just that good?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the games are pretty close, right? You got to remember, I think the only real blowout that we had was the control, and that was a 3-0 to Exclusive. Maybe you can count, I think it was a 7-3 search and destroy in the final map. Maybe you can count that as a blowout. I don't know. But the games were pretty close. Both of the hard points were within 30 to 40 points. Of course, that first search and destroy was like a 7-4, 7-5, something like that. So there wasn't really much to split the difference. But if I think I had to say one thing, it's that age-old saying of search and destroy wins championships. And Animus just looked a little bit better at search and destroy on the whole, other than a couple of slip-ups where Neil managed to get like a 1 versus 3 to some ridiculous effects. Other than a couple of moments like that, really, it just felt like Animus' team play was just a little bit more well put together in search and destroy. And I think that's something that Veer was referencing in the interview as well. They were doing things that they wouldn't normally do across the board. Yeah. And I think that was especially true in S&D. So I think they'll have brushed things up a little bit coming into this series, and they should have fixed things in search and destroy.
I think speaking on that search and destroy, actually, Proper, look, Animus were offering opportunities to Exclusive, even with how Exclusive were playing. There's a couple of those 1v3s, as we kind of talked about, moments that you just can't see happening. But then we've seen Animus just find 6 in a row. They seem to have great composure, even if they are offering opportunities over towards Exclusive.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you got to be able to take advantage of those opportunities that were being offered up, because there's every single ounce of those in that map number 2 of the firing range. Again, it was only a 7-5 difference. They were tied up there at the half as well, and there were so many different opportunities that they could have gotten away with. And you saw some of those adaptations, especially for Cesar through the middle of the map on that map number 2. I hate to get really ahead of myself here without explaining too much of what the map set is going to be, but you need a lot of that play in that teamwork iteration coming in towards this best of 7, or I guess 6 maps worth of play for regulation coming out from exclusive side, because Animus have been able to showcase before that they do bleed. You've taken maps off them, you've taken series off them in those winners finals in history's past, but for Sao, as you already pointed out, Ton, former exclusive member, he did take the buyout. Of course, I don't know if that's actually true or not, but regardless, he's now there for what is regarded as Europeans' #1 team leading in towards this moment. So you got to feel that the change has got to be the difference for this Animus roster. Got the job done yesterday, but is it going to be the difference in grand finals? We do not know.
Yeah, and I think that's a fair assumption to make and say that Animus are the team to beat here. They won the winners bracket final. They've won the previous 2 matchups. I mean, more than that. It's been time and time again. If we go way back, that Animus have been the team to beat. But the fighting words that we got from Via, if anybody missed it, he was saying that he doesn't believe that Animus are the team that should be representing Europe. He doesn't think they're going to be able to bring it to everybody else in Katowice, Brody. What kind of basis does he have on that, though? I mean, he's just saying that from the sense of that exclusive didn't play great yesterday. There's still a lot of confidence between them, though.
Yeah, there is. I think the big thing for me, right, is the fact that, you know, exclusive have been so dominant over the last few weeks, right? I think that's probably where this confidence is coming from. The fact that exclusive, the last time they met up versus Animus, they fully swept them. They'll be feeling pretty confident on the whole. That might be where that's coming from.
Well, here we go. We're going to have to delve into the weeds here, Brody. Immediately going to throw it to you. Of course, we do technically have 6 maps coming up. It's a best of 7 with an advantage for the side of Animus. They will take a 1-0 lead into this series, but a map 1 will be a hard point and it will be slums to kick things off. We'll see a combine, which we seen yesterday too, over towards Coastal again. That was our map 5 yesterday. We seen Fire Range yesterday as well, as far I believe. Yes, we did. We've seen Raid. I mean, it's very similar to what we've seen yesterday, right?
Yeah, so I think the big thing for me, of course, if you have to remember with a best of 7 format, is that I don't believe you don't get to ban a control. You effectively just pick a control for each team, so you can't get rid of the raid control no matter what you do. That's why it's making another appearance in this series, even though ideally, obviously, you'd want to get rid of that. I will say I'm surprised that there is such a mirror matchup here, though, in terms of the map set comparatively to yesterday, right? You know, we've got the slums, we've got the combine, both of those maps are back in. You've got a firing range if we do need to go the distance to a map number 6, and of course the coastal as well. So, you know, again, I think it's just going to be about lessons learned. We saw Veer talking about, you know, again, they've done the VOD. They know what they need to do to win out against Animus. You are playing the exact set map set, more or less. You now need to apply those learnings from that VOD.
I think proper as well, something we can speak on is kind of what Veer said. We've seen the maps are well, pretty much identical to what we've seen yesterday. Veer was confident. Do you think that's the reason we're seeing the same maps, that they know they made mistakes and they believe they can do it with these maps? Quick answer, please. So I think we're ready to go.
Yeah, these two teams got nothing but love for each other, but you know that they're going to have that egotistical square-up moment between the two of them. Slums lost yesterday by a whopping 13 points. I'm not really worried about Animus's chances coming in towards this one. They're going to be feeling really hot going into this map number 1.
Well, here we go. Grand finals about to kick off between Animus and exclusive. We've said that time and time again, but who will it be this time? It's historically been Animus's game to lose, but is there maybe a different feel to exclusive in this one? It'll be slums to kick things off. It was the same yesterday. How is this one going to go? Well, we're not going to find out yet. We're going to go for a quick reset. Brody, it's an opportunity to chat on this one maybe a little bit more. Yeah. Slums yesterday was pretty back and forth, right? I mean, both these two squads had their moments. Was there anything particular? I mean, realistically, it just felt like the rotation over towards P3 was important. Yes. The side of Animus, they made that count every single time.
Yeah, I think it was a decision that was made in the closing moments of the game, actually. I believe, I want to say it was Says with the Annihilator that pulled out 3 kills and accidentally flipped the spawns. And that's the last thing you want. With 20 seconds left on P2, when, you know, the rotation means everything. And you can't win with that last 20 seconds. Investing into scrap time like that, albeit you don't want to get the opposition, you don't want to give them that time. At the same time, you have to be very careful with how those spawns play out. And that's, I think, where they went wrong. Yesterday, they flipped the spawns out with 20 seconds left. And therefore, they almost immediately lost the rotation towards P3. It's a long way to go here on Slums. And so, yeah, I think, you know, you just want to make sure your rotations were a lot more on point this time around, that if you are going to use your operators, you're using them to actually garner full control over hardpoint as opposed to just scrap time. Just small little differences in the gameplay, because again, you got to remember, that game was so close. It was a 250 to 227 in Exclusive's favor. They can make some changes.
Well, here we go. Second time's the charm as we get into the first map of this grand finals. Animus looking to go for what feels like the 7 millionth repeat to a certain degree of being champions here in Europe. But can Exclusive finally do it? We're going to find out over these next 6 maps.
All right, exclusive. Let's see if they can win in the same way that they did yesterday. That would be a phenomenal way to start this series, wouldn't it? Keep an eye on spawns for P2. If you don't have somebody blocking through blue, exclusive are going to continue to spawn on that blue side. That's what's happening right now to Ton, and they're getting kills off the back of it.
Good start for exclusive. As mentioned, the stronger side going to help them out. Neil able to find something. He's going to have to be there again. Opportunities, are they going to be presented as often as they were from Animus for Neil to find those kind of 1v3 moments? I'm not too sure, but a little bit of a spawn out here over towards P3 for a couple of exclusive players. Samuel and Co trying to get something going, but the kill feed lighting up for the side of exclusive. Githela, though, has slipped the nets and got the spawns reseen. That's a massive moment immediately for Animus. And the rotation over towards P2. It's going to be hotly contested, but exclusive may well have thought it was theirs nice and easily.
Yeah, you will get those back spawns. You should get those back spawns if you're Animus. You want to be careful, though, that you don't actually get kind of bullied in. A couple of players now spawning out towards the other side of the map here. So exclusive now going to be sandwiched in between all those Animus players. They will turn around, at least for the initials here. A couple of rogue spawns coming through. Gafiller in towards the time, though. He's going to pick up a couple of kills. Stays towards the backline. That's a problem you're going to want to deal with if you're exclusive.
And they find a way through. Animus trying to get some control if they can from the front side. Spawns there for exclusive. But Githella with this war machine is so often effective. Finds absolutely nothing. Neil is there to find 2-3 with the Tempest. Everything else now being invested here from the side of exclusive. They smell blood in the water. They smell an opportunity. Animus yet to really get a footing in this first map. Exclusive playing it well. They're well manipulated around the spawns. And great timing on the operators. They're going to have to get moving over towards P3, though. How many times did we see this from exclusive, that things were looking good, but P3 changed the game? Animus will know that, and they're rotating immediately with 10 seconds to go.
And this is something we've seen from a lot of teams here in CDM, right? You're using everything to try and garner that EMP, getting in towards the next rotation so that the team can't answer the operators that you just put down onto the table. Spy is exceedingly close to said EMP. Split Zone's coming through, though. Spy now looking for a route in towards the hard point. Now another kill. Spy still looking for it. He might have just got it. I think he did. That's the EMP. And Sour is going to get the Tempest out for 3, but there might not be any more operators going Animus's way as soon as that EMP comes through.
Yep, there it is. Githella and Co now going to have to fight with their hands tied behind their back. Exclusive find a way through. 40 seconds to go here on this point. Spy having an absolute stormer. 14 in a row. Exclusive trying to get things going with the equalizer out now from Champy. Getting up close and personal. A little bit of a split spawn, but one player's actually managed to slip the net. That would be Shark. He will be dealt with. 25 seconds to go here over towards P3. And exclusive get a great deal of efficiency out of what they were able to bring to the table there, but Nox is able to find a way back through. It was for 30 seconds, though, for exclusive there. I think they'd be pretty happy with that.
Now, exclusive now got themselves a rather large lead, and with 10 seconds left, Animus is going to have to focus in towards that next rotation. This is another kind of a sneaky money hill hit on Slum's hard point. If you can control this time, make sure nobody gets through the front, well, you're groovy. Unfortunately, that's happened. One player going to filter through. There is a lot of pressure around the backline here for Animus. They do not want anybody from exclusive to hit the back.
Oh, try and find a way through. Champy on the side, though. Can't seem to find a way in. Animus getting their first decent time of the game by the looks of things. Sound finding another. Githella and Nox all combining well. It's only really Neil who can do anything. The Tempest is already up from him as well. He will get shut down. So nothing exclusive to maybe find a way through here. I saved that for Champy. He finds 2. Githella, War Machine out. This is absolute chaos. Fish in a barrel springs to mind, but Cesar is the one who finds 4. A way in through the War Machine and Githella. That's a big moment for exclusive.
Yeah, you really can't afford to take a 30-30 split there, of course. Champion in with the initial couple of kills, and then Caesar follows up with 3 of his own. It is a full wipe between those 2 players. And now for Animus, you're really left scrambling here. You want to set yourselves up for the next rotation towards Do, but you also kind of want to send some kind of resources in towards Old. Gafiller is that guy, but he just cannot do anything. And we end the first half here. Exclusive, we talked about momentum coming into the series. That is exactly what has happened. They have a 100-point lead, and it looks like it might well grow another second set.
Oh, they're trying to get the rotation over towards P2 almost immediately here as well. The spawns will be there, though, for the side of Animus. Via getting aggressive. Last shots with the War Machine, not quite clean. Machine pistol as well. Not going to work out, but irrelevant of that, they managed to find the kills anyway. Holding down for some decent time. It is a 100-plus point lead for the side of exclusive in map number 1 in this grand final. They have come in swinging with the same threat, the same momentum that they had in that losers final, and they are making it look pretty easy right now. Sour can just find 4 or 5 out of nothing, though, with the Tempest. And Animus can start to get some time here. But is the damage already done, Brody? Is that already too much of an insurmountable gap? I'm not too sure for a team like Animus that even exists, but they're starting to find some kills. They're starting to find some time. But Exclusive still with a very, very healthy lead.
I mean, it's like I said, right? I mean, there's always ways back into this game. You really want to be blocking for those cafe spawns, though. You've got to be very careful here because spawns can be very volatile here on Slums. As Narx now spawns in towards the P2 side, we look towards the scrap times now. It should be Animus touching new, and that is the path back into this game. This is the money kill. You got to hold those back spawns down. Do not let anybody slip through, and make sure nobody gets through blues or through double dumpsters. This is the hold. Animus gets this full 60. They are right back in this game.
That's all it can take. For teams of this quality, they can punish you if they are really even offered just a slight opening. Nox can find a couple there with the Sparrow. Shark bringing out the equalizers as well, and these are big kills to be fine. Incredible work from Shark and Cooper. The push is going to come through from the dumpster side, but he's got an immediate flank at a couple of players. They should be free. Once again, Shark running through absolutely everybody, and that's at least 5 with the equalizer. Animus starting to pin Exclusive back, starting to get back into this game, but 3 kills falling their way through the front door. Neil and Co can do really well to find them, and just about surviving inside of the point. Spy has the death machine out, push in from Exclusive, and they managed to find a route in, but Shark with the Predator missile. Animus still holding up.
Yeah, if I'm honest, that was a good play from Shark, at least initially, right on surface value, right? You alleviate a little bit of pressure through the double dumpsters, but unfortunately, you end up giving up that area through blue, and, well, that's exactly where Animus are going to spawn, or Exclusive are going to spawn, excuse me. So they're able to push through blue, they get through, and the best bit about that for Exclusive is not only do you get a look towards that time, you take some time away from Animus, but you also force out a Predator missile out of Animus as well. So Shark's play, it looked good at first, but in the end, actually, that gave Exclusive a fair bit of time.
I gap was 100 plus at one stage. Animus, typically P3, has been strong for them, but Spy's got a little bit of flank going on here as well, trying to deal with players who are finding the push. The spawns over towards the backside. They're going to come in for Exclusive, and it's a break on P3. Could that be a dagger for Animus, who were setting themselves up? They were starting to come back. They're trying to find a way through the front door now. Says over towards the garage side. Not really going to find a great deal as Exclusive continuing to hold at P3. Says and Co going to try and have to find a way through here, Brody.
You really have to, don't you? Back spawn's kind of a little bit
kills
wonky here. Big kills being made from Exclusive, though. They managed to get the kills around the back line. Now Animus having a fight through the front. You're seeing all the utility coming up from Exclusive as well. Predator missile down. That's going to give Animus the information, as to where Animus are going to be coming from. And once again, you're left kind of reading, right? You have to give up the scrap time. You have to focus in towards Garage.
You need to find something over towards this side because the leaders, once again, back to over 100 points. Animus have threatened, to be honest with you. They have looked like they are able to find a hold potentially, and then they just fall apart. Exclusive are just, managing to find a way through. It's like a knife through butter at the moment. Every single time they need to find a break, and once again they find it. It's just so easy. Animus have got the staying power of a wet paper bag at the moment. Oh, God.
Yeah, that's one way to put it, isn't it? They are just 20 points away from victory, and now you're starting to see some of these last few operators coming through. Neil is on a spree, 6 to his name, plus the ones he's getting with the operators. Champy guarding the front as well. This is just kill after kill after kill. Animus cannot get through.
Can't get anywhere near. The advantage is already gone within a 5-minute hard point. Exclusive 250 to 110. And that is a statement to kick off this grand finals. Animus are yet to arrive. Exclusive well and truly already here.
And I feel like that might just be the momentum buff, right? Again, you know, you come from the lower bracket. Animus have been sitting on their thumbs all day long, and those things are not warm, and you just saw it right there. Exclusive come out swinging in map number 1. And there were material differences that we'll talk about here in just a second, but I think it can't be understated, right? Exclusive, they've been feeling hot coming in this match. They've been feeling momentum. They're feeling confident, and that showed time and time again. Throughout every single rotation that we just saw, their rotations were much better. Their operators way better, and of course it always helps when you're just simply outslay your opposition.
Incredible work from Exclusive, but it's from the get-go, right? You've seen them over towards P1 and P2. Okay, you can see teams kind of get that lead on Slums. That can happen, but to then convert that over towards P3 because of the streaks, because of the operators they were able to get, because of such a good start, that was the first dagger. The second one felt like when Animus were finding themselves opportunities, where they were finding themselves setups, they just could not hold them to save their lives. Exclusive just finding the punching power over and over again. This must be a massive outslay as well. Going to be pushing 20-30. Exclusive with a really good start to this grand final. And as mentioned, that advantage that Animus did have has gone and disappeared in front of our very eyes and in front of Animus's as well, who will now be saying to themselves, right, okay, we need to lock in very, very quickly. Well, this could get out of hand immediately. I think the one thing that they do have here, though, Brody, is it's an S&D coastal coming up, so they can maybe slow things down. There's a map they won yesterday. In the end, comfortably. After they were 3-1 down, they find 6 rounds in a row to close it out. So they'll be hoping they can rely on some of the plays they were making yesterday in that winners bracket final.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, what we saw a 1 versus 4 from Veer or something ridiculous like that to kick off. Said search and destroy yesterday, so that most certainly helped. But yeah, I think, you know, that's kind of what we were looking at. We would talk about search and destroy. It feels a little bit like, at least what we saw from yesterday, Animus were playing as a team just a little bit better. It feels like they put a lot of work into their strategy play, to their team play, just a lot of communication that you could very clearly see, what was happening between the players. I will say that it wasn't perfect, and I think from that perspective, at least, you can kind of go into this next search and destroy and be like, all right, cool. We know that there are at least holes in Animus's gameplay. And again, we go back to what Veer said in the post-match interview. They have done the VOD. They will know, all right, cool. This is where Animus are putting all of their different players. They'll know what they need to do to try and win Coastal this time around. Okay,
let's see if Exclusive have done their research and they have been able to figure out what Animus were doing. Because, I mean, it's all very well losing 1-7-3, but it was the 6 rounds in a row that kind of put things in a bit of a weird perspective. But I suppose then you can throw in the 1v4, as you mentioned, from Via. That was crazy to see it. I think a goal was 1v3 at the time. He found every single kill, the ace alongside of it. Those were the kind of moments that Exclusive had to find rounds on Coastal, I should say. So are they going to have to do that again, or do they come in with the same gusto we just seen there? Of course, on Slums, heading into map number 2 of this grand finals. It's 1 apiece with that advantage from Animus already gone. Coastal coming up. A very different affair to what we see on Slums Hardpoint, but it should be an interesting one nonetheless.
I feel like if you're Animus, this is where you have to stop Exclusive, right? Because I think the big thing you came out of the last best of 5, the upper bracket final, is that your search and destroy was simply better. If you lose this is where you start to be a little bit concerned, right? You're like, oh god, Exclusive really have changed their strategies. They've come in with a totally different ball game to this grand finals. You really do start to panic a little bit. So for me, I think this is a very important map in this grand final. Exclusive take this, they're plain sailing.
A huge map early on. Exclusive, as you said, Brody, if they can find this, if they can find a search, they are absolutely laughing. I could well put to bed some demons that we've seen over the past 2 years. Up against Animus. We're going to try and find some breaks here already as Via through the middle of the map. Slow start for both these two teams, just drawing the battle lines. Well, quite far back at the moment.
Grenade out.
Well, that's a Bobby native I've ever seen one. Straight back up the middle of the map. Doesn't do anything. Animus now have a little bit of information that someone was towards the middle of the map. It's going to be repositioned back towards middle once again. Animus just making sure at the moment that nobody has made their way through. And again, these opening snipes are everything. Sage, you sneaky beaky boy. Oh, he does it through the crack. Are you joking?
How on earth does he find it? Those are the kind of moments that can just bring Animus back into this one. They've tried to slow things down on this attack. And then a moment of brilliance from Says. He was the man yesterday in the search and destroy who was lighting things up. And Animus needed him. And they needed him there to find the first blood. Shark trying to make his move. This is an incredible shot. Finds it through the crack. Vieira's like, what on earth has just happened? And now look in the middle of the map. Animus have found a way through. Shark has found himself. There's just no way that Exclusive read this.
Well, no, they wouldn't, would they? Shark behind. Good for the first one. Shots out. Pre-firing for the second. Has help coming from the mid-cut as well. That smoke. Up through the smoke. Again, you can see the names. Not a surprise whatsoever. And now you're down to the last couple of players. And I love this play call from Animus. Look, hang on. We've got full B-side control. Let's just get the bomb over here.
Yeah, it's been a very well-worked round from Animus. Find the pick over towards the middle of the map. Exclusive lose a bit of pressure over towards it. It opens up some doors that Shark will quite happily walk through and punish you for. Spy and Neil now left in a 2 versus 4. I mean, from their perspective, it's not too hard to find the picks from the outside here, but it's finding 4 of them that might be difficult.
It's just getting in. There's just so many different positions you've got to check here on this re-entry. It's so difficult, huh?
Sometimes can be fish in a barrel if you've got the numbers in your favor. And you need to find those shots. Neil can find one. Spy left on his own in a 1 versus 3. Finds one. Isn't able to find the second. I think if we can snap onto the second player and find him quickly, he's got a real chance. But Animus would do well to lose that round from that position. Opening blood from Says is the catalyst for a very, very good first round from Animus.
Yeah, exclusive they just don't fill that hole in the gameplay, right? You lose the first blood, you lose that opening snipe. Sharp is able to walk straight through the middle of the map and completely puncture a hole in the B-bomb site defense for exclusive. Animus, phenomenal start for them. Phenomenal start from Says and Shark. And now this is a much more standard setup. Exclusive getting aggressive through the middle of the map here. You've got a player down the A-long and Neil over the top. Good for the first. You will get traded out, but you will take that trade. Information is everything here in Call of Duty Mobile. You now know what Animus want to do.
4v4. Spy just gonna have to play his life here. Animus yet to really make their move. In fairness to exclusive, they haven't really bit to anything. They haven't overextended or made any mistakes just yet.
Flash out.
But the slow movement coming through from Animus. Information gain now as the flash will come through. Exclusive will know that there is utility at least down this A side, but have yet to really move from their corners.
You'll start to push up. Exclusive are relatively weak here on the A side, so if that's the bomb plant, that's the best way to go about it. Problem is, you don't really have much information yourselves if you're Animus, right? You have no idea really what this A setup's looking like. I mean, Spy hasn't made any noise. He's not sliding about the joint. He's just chilling there. And now you're going to take the gamble. 30 seconds left on the clock. It is going to be a B hit, but they're stacked up on the other side of the wall. You need some util.
We're waiting for a misstep to be made from exclusive, and they ain't moved. Cesar's waiting for the initial push. Says will fall. Everybody else trying to find a way through. Githilla and Sauer will do really well, and all of a sudden I think it's going to be Neil having to back down. It's actually Via finds the shot, and it's an important one at that. Now a 2 versus 2, but this bomb goes down. They did not have time to try and find the trade. Via trying to find the pick onto Githilla. Cannot find it. One more play over towards the backside is going to be able to potentially help Githilla, but he falls anyway. Shock now left in a 1 versus 2. This was the position that he found something for in the previous round. He ain't finding a goddamn thing. Exclusive hold. One apiece.
Yeah, I'm really surprised there actually that Shark didn't watch that cross, properly, because he should have made the call to the Githilla that, hey, somebody is, pushing towards your outer side, like, don't slide out, like, let's just pre-aim that angle. He definitely saw that player make the move, and yet still Githilla went out to the slide of the back. Of course, that leaves Shark stranded. Not much that he can do there in that situation. Animus. I'm going to lose a round. Exclusive going to answer back here on the defense, and that should, again, change things for Animus. Worth saying again that Exclusive, I think, will now find a lot more value in changing their setup ever so slightly. They are not watching the middle of the map whatsoever, and they will lose Spy. Now I'm going to take a 2-2 split. 2 players on A, 2 players on B.
So what's the move here for Animus now? Find a pick over towards this A side. So I've been given an opportunity to push up. Via will say thank you very much. An aggressive angle. Catch a Shark off guard. Now all of a sudden a 4 versus 4. Back to the drawing board for Animus.
Once again, going to be a B hit. 2 players positioned once again towards the back of the site. Trophy system is down, so any util going through will get caught. Of course, it only catches a couple before expiring. There's that first bit of util. Both nades caught. One went straight past. The trophy system survives. Again, the stun going through. No information off any of this util, despite where Animus players are, or exclusive players, are not.
Kill to the left through the front door. Can't be holding the angle. Are they going to be able to find anything here? Absolutely not. They're just sitting back corners and finding the kill. Sour can find one, but not the second. Well played from exclusive. They've been so patient. Did not have the numbers for the majority of that round. Fear evens the odds. It almost feels like Animus are maybe taking their time a little bit too much. Maybe being a little too methodical.
Defend the objective.
They're finding their moments to or try and do something, but don't have a lot of time to pull it off. And it feels a little rushed at times.
That's a beautiful use of... Oh! Oh
No
my
way.
god, what a play off that nade. You get the initial hit marker onto one, you're like, right, cool, let's send a second nade. They don't have a trophy down in the exact same spot to pick up those opening gunfights. The response from Exclusive, get aggressive, and they are being punished for it ton. This round is done.
I mean, it always helps when the util lands like that, right? A very aggressive push from Exclusive on this defensive side. Expecting to catch Animus off guard. Yeah, there's a nade at your feet, boys, and you're down to a 5v3. Very, very quick riposte from Animus. 2-2 now.
Allá afuera son.
Now all of a sudden, Raid's in the middle of the map. Says finds Via, finds Nox. Bullets sent out very, very quickly. I think Nox will be questioning how the hell he actually managed to die, but nonetheless, a 4 versus 4. And again, a slower start from Animus this time around.
I want to see Animus start to hit A instead of B, right? You know, it's not like it hasn't been that successful for them so far, but we haven't seen a single A hit from them. They haven't been courageous enough to actually chow down A long. They can get those opening bloods. It's a much more difficult bomb site for Exclusive to actually re-enter into. But right now, they're just in an information gathering phase. You're in a 4 versus 4. No need to make anything crazy move. Again, the one thing that Exclusive, I will say, are doing is they don't have any coverage through the middle of the map. The closest thing they have is Spy watching the cross from down low on A. That is it. So they could get through the B cut here, and they would leave those 2 players inside the site totally helpless.
Those players inside the site, though, have not done too bad of a job over towards B, in fairness. The only time that they really have broken down over towards the side is the previous round where they had to get aggressive. They didn't have the numbers, and the other round, that Shark managed to find a route in. Can they hold it down? Just even a trade would not be the end of the world. Anything more than that will be a bit of a disaster for Animus. Oh, that's a bad time to get a nade out. It's a terrible time to get a nade out. But Champion's actually managed to find Shark. Can he turn and help him out as well? On the other side, not quite. The timing does not go Exclusive's way. Animus find a way through, but Spy's here rather quickly. Trying to find the pick on the outside, but it's not looking likely. It's going to be a 2 versus 3 retake needed from Exclusive.
What util do you have here? No trophies in sight, so if you do have a stun or a nade late into the round, it would be nice. You spot one player out for Spy, shots taken. You got to imagine the reaction's quick. No, it's not. He immediately transitions to a second, brings us down to a 2 versus 2, but you do know where those players are.
25. Need to start making their move. Spy on his way through. Spots Says. The shots are there. Sour's not there for the cover. He's stuck in between a rock and a hard place. Puts the smoke down. Tries to get away. But the retake is there. Exclusive get through the setup of Animus so many times in the hard point. And they do it here in the search as well. 3-2.
What was that transition on towards Gefilla? Like, he should be dead to rights. There is absolutely no reason for him to be able to exit the site in the way that they do, let alone get that second kill on Gefilla. That is nutty. Smokes down off the start of this round. Animus looking for a full send on towards A. This is what I wanted to see.
Oh, they're getting aggressive. Kills just actually flowing between the 2 teams. It's 2 versus 3 in the blink of an eye for Exclusive. Animus are finding first bloods. They're finding advantages, but they're not making them count. It kind of feels like a bit of a flip from yesterday.
The bomb has been planted.
Veer now finds himself in a position where he is about to get flanked. If he can be quick enough, he may well get himself around the corner. He's not going to. Says will find the pick. And all of a sudden, Says up left. And a 1 versus 3. It takes something quite special to pull this one off. Not going to happen, but 3 apiece. I think if I'm one team that's a little happier here, I'm Exclusive. I think Animus will be a little disappointed to be level heading into the defensive side. Exclusive have pulled a couple of rounds out the fire there.
Oh, 100%. I mean, the way that they've got those rounds right with that A hit towards the final round, and then, of course, you know, managing to get their way into towards B, where there was a couple of players towards the back of the site. Like, it feels like Animus have been able to pull off these pretty standard rounds. I'm kind of surprised in a way they didn't do it more consistently there on their first 6. But nonetheless, we're going to switch sides now. Exclusive on the offense once again, and they feel a little bit more measured. They are going straight towards B. You still to cover that close corner. There's not going to be an HSO to meet you on the other side. Just clearing space, gathering information right now. You've got to be very careful that this Sage doesn't whip you out from the middle of the map. No! That's a USS 9, by the way. That shouldn't do that.
We're just living in an SMG player's world, I'll tell you. I used to be that guy when I was young, but now I'm a stiff AR. I can't do it. It's such a struggle to deal with when players like Spy have got shots as crispy as that. Now all of a sudden the players on Animus over towards this B side potentially have a extremely difficult job to do. A job that was done well by Exclusive on their defensive side. Whether it was retake or whether it was a hold, B wasn't too bad. Utility starting to be sent out. You can see they've got one player through the middle of the map. Neil is kind of watching the cross. So it's going to be down to these 4 players to try and get something going. Animus are trying to make their move, but here comes Exclusive. Sour will be able to find one with a shotgun. He's going to manage to find a way out as well. The HSO will just be absolute nightmare fuel for Exclusive in this scenario, but they pinch. They do it well. They do it effectively. Bomb will go down. It's a 4v2. Make it a 4v1.
Yeah. Not going to happen. Again, I feel like for both of these teams right now, their defenses on B have been pretty weak. Like, they need to start being more aggressive with the HSO. You need to be a little bit more aggressive with your trophies towards that cut, right? I mean, it feels like that's how you're seeing the best of the best teams here on Coastal play this map. And right now, it feels like they're being just a little bit more sheepish towards the back of the site instead. If we see changes here from the team on defense, which is currently Animus, maybe they'll have more fortune on the B kit. But once again, it is going to be players towards the back of the site.
They are getting aggressive. Can they manage to find these picks as well? It's just not been a place where Animus have had a lot of success as B. But the players over towards this backside, Sour, Shock, defending very, very well so far. They've kept them at bay for a decent amount of time that the reinforcements should be on their way. Shock finds one. There are the reinforcements. Legged for VA is going to continue to survive. Neil will find one back under Narx. It's a 3 versus 2. Shock still stuck towards the back. Eventually dealt with. Yathila here kind of just stuck in a corner. And Animus, I mean, it's just tough spot to be in, right? Gathila is trying his best. He's done extremely well to get out. Gets taken down. Exclusive. Shock and awe over towards B. In fairness, Brody, I feel as if Shock survived a longer than he should have, but the help was just not there quick enough.
Again, I have to keep on saying it. It does just feel like that's what you need to be doing right now. You need to be changing things up on the defense, because I think Exclusive have figured out what the defensive setup looks like for Animus, and they are going for it over and over again. They are going to go for a bit of a change of pace here. I guess kind of gambling that maybe Animus would reinforce that B-bomb site a little bit more, but early util going to let them know exactly what's happening. If they didn't know those 5 nades at the top, most certainly now they will.
Oh, one of them lands as well. Spy will find Nox. Let's open everything up over towards this outer side, and they are just getting egregiously aggressive. Says will find 2 though from the bottom side, and the aggression doesn't pay off. Says shuts them down almost on his own. Hey, where is Via? Oh, okay, he's covering over on that side, but Exclusive a little disjointed in that push, and Says will say thank you very much. 11 kills to his name.
Veer now has to do the impossible. This is a setup that's all too common. You can see that again here. Says with the 1 versus 3. They just don't tech down low, and he pieces them all up. Now Veer has to do more or less the same thing. They are more or less in the same place, and EU players do kind of have this tendency, should we say, to overpeak, so you might be given a freebie. Has a little bit of time to play with. Again, the problem is that all 3 of those players are stuck into the same corner, and you're kind of hoping, praying for some kind of magical collat to come your way.
I think in that scenario, just to talk on Says' 3-piece, like, why was nobody watching Stairs?
Yeah.
It has to be questioned. Ultimately, it has led to Via being left in a 1 versus 3. And as mentioned, he has pulled off things like this before, but the problem is they know where the bomb is. They've got an idea where Via is, but sometimes it doesn't matter. Says going to charl that as well, and Via will say thank you very much. Gets a shot off. Isn't able to do a great deal. 14 seconds to try and do something. Knows that one's behind the bomb site. Needs to pull off these shots. Needs to be perfect. Cannot find them. Animus, patient in their craft there. Sails will line up the majority of the kills in that round, which will help them get their 4th over the line. Exclusive still have a lead, but the rush does not work out.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest again. The fact that they give him so many looks is wild. You just got to sit in corners. You guys do not need to be jalling in the way that you are. 1 versus 3 for Veer will be denied. I'll be thanking Says' lucky stars for that round. Early util once again. They've completely abandoned the B-bomb site here. They're hoping an off-angle works out, and it does for the initial, but that's the problem with playing like that. You need to be playing close to the cut, and Animus, they're still not doing it.
The bomb has been planted.
Neil will find another as well. 4 versus 2. Neil going to go on the flank. Says may well be the next one on the chopping block, but 1 player over towards the back side. It's going to be Nox, expecting players on the cross through the middle of the map. That's where Says is right now, and he may well get caught by Viet. Just an impossible round, impossible situation to win if you're Animus. Exclusive. 6-4 to the good. They are 1 round away from taking the lead in this grand final.
This does feel like a reaction to the VOD. They've done their VOD. They know what Animus's defensive setup looked like. And even that was a little bit different, right? It was just a reaction. Sour only finds 1 on that B cut, on that cross towards B. just change things. You have to have your shotgun player playing close to that cart. The fact that they haven't done it over and over again is just insane to me. Animus keep on sending numbers towards A. They keep on not really holding B properly, and that is their downfall at the moment. Does feel like it's once again going to be a B hit, and Spy has nobody to contend with through the middle of the map.
I like this aggression that's come out from Gathilla, though. He's really shut down this A side of the map, so they know what's going on, but Viet goes for the peak. Does that adjust to what Animus are going to do? Or do they just sit tight? They're holding the same angle again if you're sour. Exclusive once again, though. They've had so much success over towards B, then why wouldn't you go there? Looks like they're going to change things up, and he'll find Says. One more player in towards the middle of the mark. It's going to be Sour. He's going to have to find something. He can find one. Can't find the second, or can he? Yes, he can. Takes down Via. But that's given a bit of information over towards the side of Exclusive. Neil will fall 2v2.
Sour might have just saved this round. Double sniper plate. Sour is going to be playing for the back exits. He cannot afford to miss this snipe. This has to hit.
Doesn't pull the trigger, but gets the information. Nox is on his way over as well. They have to be meticulous. They have to be perfect. Oh, they go behind in this grand final after they had an advantage what feels like only 10 minutes ago. The push is starting to come through. Spy towards the backhand side is not going to be able to see a great deal. They are really tailing up. Sour going to try and find a way in. Nox is alongside him. The smoke is going to create chaos. Champy just ringing bullets out as quickly as he can. Nox is going to find a push, but he's all on his own. Sour left in a 1 versus 2 against his old team. Exclusive. Find map number 2. They are making mincemeat of Animus in this grand final.
Man, I don't even know what to say. Just Animus, man, you got to figure that B defense out because it was really poor. I don't even think they had a shotgun out at all through that search and destroy. If they did, it wasn't there for very long, and it certainly wasn't in the right spot. I mean, no wonder Exclusive just waltzed their way through B time and time again. And even in that final round, it just felt like the util was poor. Really, really poor from Animus. You know, they had a couple of moments, I think, especially early on, where, hey, we figured out, you know, what Exclusive are doing, right? We know what their B defense looks like, and we found a way around that. And they just still consistently aren't playing around it properly. I don't know. If I had to pinpoint one problem there for Animus, it's that the consistency is key, and it just was not there whatsoever. For Exclusive, though, I mean, shout out to them. Again, we talked about the fact that Veer said, yep, they've done their VOD, they know what they need to do. And again, I think that totally showed. You compare that Coastal Search and Destroy to the Coastal we saw yesterday, excuse me, in game number 5, it was a totally different ball game. They knew exactly what Animus were going to do, and they played around it perfectly.
I think they are playing well today. We've got to give them their flowers. They've been sensational so far. Find themselves now in the lead, Brody. And we said if they can take the search and destroy, this should be their series to lose. Well, there's the first one. We may not need to see a second at this rate with the way that Exclusive are playing.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, we talk about momentum coming into this series from the lower bracket final. Exclusive had that going into this one, and we said that Search and Destroy was the one game mode that Animus just looked way better than Exclusive yesterday. We heard Vera in the interview saying, look, we were playing incorrectly. We know what we need to do to change things, and we wondered whether those adaptations would be made going into this Search and Destroy. Well, the answer very plainly is, yep, they made those adaptations. They look much, much better as a squad now. They played around Animus perfectly on Coastal Search and Destroy. So now you're starting to get a little bit stressed because you go in a raid, and this is where they won 3-0 yesterday in that upper bracket final. This is an Exclusive map through and through.
Well, here we go. Moving on to, as you mentioned, an Exclusive map. 3-0 yesterday. If they can take this, then we'll be one map away. But it is never that easy against a team like Animus. We know what they bring to the table. We know how resolute they can be. Can they do it in this position? Backs firmly up against the wall. Let's not forget, though, how many times Animus have come from the loser side and done this to Exclusive. They know how to fight from losing positions, Brody, but you're really tightly up against the wall now.
Man, This is going to be difficult, isn't it? I mean, it really does just kind of exemplify how important that was. Again, you cannot ban out controls here with this format. There are 2 controls. You only get to pick them. And you got to imagine this was the exclusive pick. So right now, it just feels a little bit more like exclusive are going to win this best of 7. Obviously, it isn't confirmed just yet. We got a best of 7, folks. Even if exclusive take this map, we've still got a lot more to go. There is still a chance for Animus to basically reverse sweep this series, but it does feel like at this point, with where we're looking forward in this series, we're asking for a lot.
Definitely feels like it's exclusives to lose now, right? Especially with how things have transpired over the last 2 maps. And the ones in a very, very promising position. With, as mentioned, control rate, we put in that all-time favorite maps. A map that exclusive continuously have a lot of luck on. You got to be a little bit worried if you're Animus. But we're having a small issue. We'll hopefully be jumping into the game shortly, but hey, look, I think if you're Animus, you probably try and ice exclusive if that's what they're trying to do. You try and slow them down right now because exclusive just look unbeatable at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, this is the way, right? You know, do the Steve Vortex strat, right? You know, just slow things down a little bit, take a while.
My phone's out of battery.
I can't do the vetoes. What? How did this happen? That means nothing to any of these guys, by the way. Absolutely nada. But yeah, I mean, it's why not, right? I mean, this is probably a positive for them because they needed some moments to cool down. Just take some time to be like, look, guys, right, listen, we don't get timeouts here in the World Championships. Let's just take a moment for ourselves. We are really pooping the bed at the moment. Like, we're not playing like ourselves. There are obvious holes in the gameplay. Let's fix those. And, you know, we talk about the VOD, right? The VOD was a key thing that Veer was talking about, right, in the interview, saying, like, hey, like, you know, we know what we got to do. I think it's fair to also assume that Animus will also have looked at that raid control yesterday and recognized where things kind of went wrong, right? So I think for me, that's kind of the way we've got to look at this positively, at least for Animus. I want more of a series on our hands. I want them to also make adaptations out of yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we've just seen them come in a little cold. I mean, we talked about the momentum that exclusive would have off that losers bracket final. I didn't think it would necessarily extend to a coastal search and destroy, but it definitely felt like it did. We knew they would probably come out hot on the sums. They did. If you're Animus, you need to somehow slow them down, but I don't think raid control is going to be enough to do that on. Of course, it can be faster, it can be furious. We'll see how it's going to go down. Hopefully we can load in pretty shortly because we want to keep this up. We want to see these teams battling it out. But what a story it would be for exclusive to do it now, to get the, when it goes down to 1 spot, to get that moment to be able to do it would be a sensational time to start turning things around, wouldn't it? It's the prime time to get the dub.
Yeah, it's something actually I wanted to bring up at some point during the broadcast. Now we've got a chance to do so. Raballo, I think, tweeted. Obviously, it's Raballo, right? Raballo, whatever Raballo says, kind of you take it with a massive grain of salt. But still, he was saying that like, exclusive are kind of a team to look out for come World Champs if they do qualify. They're the kind of team that you've got to keep an eye on. So, hey, maybe if they do make it to World Champs, they'll be perfectly fine. Right now, though, they've got to get through Animus. They've got to get through this raid control.
Well, let's see if exclusive